Coming up on The Returned.
Didn't hurt anymore. I could see down there. I'm up here. Oh, hi, Jim. This is kind of fun. All of a sudden, there I am. There's the hospital. The Hudson. There's the bridge. My house. Look, there's my house down. So I'm flying. Whoa, this is really fun. And all of a sudden, I started to accelerate. What am I doing?
Hi, and welcome to The Returned. Here's to everything we'll discover together. Hi, and welcome to The Returned, a place where we share near-death stories, out-of-body experiences, spiritual awakenings, signs from spirit, and the journeys of healers and lightworkers from around the world. Oh my goodness. Again, you hear me say, oh my goodness, but I must say you are in for a treat today. Now, this story is amazing. I am honored to sit with Sandra Rose, who experienced not one, but two near-death experiences. And during one of those moments, she crossed into heaven, was greeted by a loved one, and met God. Sandra, welcome to The Returned.
Thank you so much for inviting me to share my experience, a glimpse of heaven with you. I feel so honored to share this because it brings me great joy and it brings hope to other people. But I'd like to tell you about where I came from before all of this. I'm just an ordinary girl, like any other girl, from upstate New York, ordinary working class family. My dad was a garage man. My mother was a math genius. I wish I had her math skills. She did taxes and was a um, did notary. Now, I had three brothers. I'm number two. So I had a big brother, Doug. He was my guardian. He turned out to be a Marine. He stayed a guardian. He's still my guardian, believe me. I went to Washington with him and talk about being guarded. Oh, yes. Um, but we came from a family where we lived on the country. And because my father was a garage man, we had cars in the field and we could drive those cars as soon as our feet would touch the pedals. So we had to learn to be good drivers. We had to mow the lawn to earn money for gas, but then we couldn't bump a wrecked car. I had many aunts and uncles. My father came from a large family. So I had many cousins to play with, and we would go over to the farm. We didn't go inside. We were outside in the fields, chasing the cows, in the barns, playing with the kittens. In the springtime, it was pollywogs and pussy willows and swimming in the pond. In wintertime, now this is something. In the wintertime, we had toboggans made out of car hoods. Do you know how fast you can go down a hill on a car hood?
Wow.
Like a great big toboggan, then we had to haul it all the way back up the hill. Well, that was we had a lot of cousins to do that. And as I said, I'm from upstate New York, so it's from the Lake George region. Now, that's a beautiful area in itself. It just exudes history. Lake George, Fort William Henry, Fort Ticonderoga, the American Revolution, Fort Edward, Battle of Saratoga. They're all within 20 miles of where I live. My parents' house was built in the late 1700s. There was just history everywhere. My people, my father's family came on the Mayflower. We've been here forever. And my mother's family came from settlers in Virginia. She was in Illinois, and my father was in Indianapolis. They made to go out for World War II. And they met and fell in love, got married, and off he went. My brother was born when he was gone, and I was born when he came back. But it's family has always been important. Hardworking has always been important. Strong faith. My mother's family, especially out in Illinois, I think they went to church at least twice every week, if not more so. Faith was always very strong. And my mother put it into our lives as well. As little kids, my brothers and I got on the Sunday school bus for the Baptist church. And I think I was 12 or 13 when I discovered Jesus and accepted him as my savior. And Irv Chambers, Irv Chambers years ago did these beautiful programs. And I just felt so alive and so excited. And that's when I first met Jesus and accepted him. Well, the Baptist church, you really can't sing or dance. And this girl likes to sing and dance. So I went to the Methodist church so I could sing and dance and be in the choir. I grew up and met my husband, and we had a family, and we took them to the Methodist church as well. And all throughout my life, I've been involved with church as an adult, a Sunday school teacher, more recently, a Presbyterian leader in a women's group. I was just a little girl having a good time. Now, this is what happened. One summer, there was a family reunion, and it was like at a quarry, and I like to swim, and I went swimming. Now, they felt in 1952 is when I had polio. There's a suspicion that polio comes from something in the water. I'm the only kid that went swimming in the water that day. And it's a bacteria that got into my system. So when I was 7 years old, I had polio and died. And I'll tell you about that later in my story. But
Okay.
the background is I wasn't able, I had a weakened left leg. No, polio has two kinds of polio, the kind that affects your brain or the kind that atrophies your legs. You see little kids, well, they're adults now,
Yeah.
but little kids in braces and all of that. I had polio. I died. Well, once I recovered from it, even though I had to have physical therapy and teach everything all over again to walk and talk, I was not crippled, but I had a little bit weaker left leg. So my mother didn't want me to be embarrassed in case I fell down playing basketball or something. Well, I was 6 foot tall when I was 15. I'm an advantage for playing that. And it bothered me that I was made to sit out on the sidelines when I wanted to go play. And back in my day, you could play full court basketball, but I sure could spike a volleyball. So it was always wondered, why did I live? I had polio when I was 7, and my mother nobody ever talked about it. When I got a little bit older, I remember I went to my aunt's house, and the week before I had polio, I had written my name, Sandra Lee Duell, as a little 7-year-old, and the Lee was all in capital letters for some reason. And it was on an antique roll-up type of slate thing. When I came home from the hospital, it was in the playhouse, and no one was allowed to touch it. They did not expect me to live. And no one touched it, even after I actually have that in my other room. When my cousins died, they said, Sandy, would you like to have the easel? The secret is Uncle Charlie, who's my next door neighbor, my great uncle, like a surrogate grandfather. He called me Sandusky, and oh, I was fascinated. His teeth came out. I was a little kid, like 5, 6, and 7. And he was so worried I was going to die that he made that like a little special place to go. And I have it. Amazingly, my chalk on that chalkboard is legible. I took it to a framer I was in New York. That's what I got. It was in New York. He put it into a lucite case. And I've written a story, not a book. I've written short stories called The Playhouse Path that talks about the playhouse and that little easel in the playhouse. But I didn't get to run and play. But when I was with my cousins in the farm, nobody's watching me, I could run and play. But it did always make me wonder. Then I kind of got over it, and I grew up and didn't think a whole lot more about it after that. But I had a happy childhood. A
Sounds like
happy
it.
childhood. And not all
Yeah.
people do, but I do.
Yeah.
I did.
That's nice to hear, though.
Mhm.
So, how do you feel about walking us into your near death experience?
I am very happy to share that with you because
Sure.
I feel so honored to have been given this validation that
Yeah.
God is so real to me that He's there. He's right here.
hmm
He's a
Yeah.
part of my life. So, yeah, everyone is afraid to die. Usually, we don't know what to expect. We hope to go to heaven, but we're afraid. Well, I've had the 2 near-death experiences. I'm going to tell you about the colorful one first.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it was in 1978, and I was 32 years young. I had my 3 children, and I was having problems with uterine infections and biopsies, and I had a tumor the size of a walnut, about this big. That's all, just this big. And within 3 weeks, it grew to be this big. And oh, this is not good. So Dr. O'Keefe said, Sandy, I know you're young. I have my 3 kids. Let's get rid of this cancer thing. I've had biopsy after biopsy and, bad, bad, bad. So he said, let's do it. Okay, fine. Went to the hospital. I had the hysterectomy. I woke up saying, whew, I'm glad that's over. And I was laying in bed just saying, oh, I hurt, but that's nice. And the nurse said, well, don't you want to get up and go for a walk? Get me out of this? Absolutely. I mean, my whole life has started over. Cancer is gone and I'm alive. And yes, let's go for a walk. So being as tall as I was, but because my whole abdomen was open, I was going to bend over, hunched over, going, oh, my belly hurts so badly. And I was walking down the hall. I remember the nurse grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled my shoulders back and said, Sandy, stand up straight. Well, I remember feeling searing pain. I waddled back into my room, somehow got back into my bed, and I went to sleep. Well, after a while, I woke up. I go, oh, I feel wet. Oops, I think I've wet the bed. Oh, no. And back in those days, the IVs were rigid boards. Of course, the nurse button is over there. My arm is on an IV board. I'm going to my roommate. Please call the nurse. I think I've wet the bed. I was so embarrassed. Well, here comes the nurse. On goes the lights. All I remember are my roommate's screams and my screams. Red. I was bleeding. My blankets. I was covered. My blankets were red with blood. It was drip, drip.
Wow.
I was saturated. And then all of a sudden, through no effort of my own, I was up here, went up above my body. Didn't hurt anymore. Go, ooh, just almost instantaneous. I could see down there, they were getting all nervous about what to do with my body, and they were all running around and getting ice and all kinds of, get the blood cleaned up. I'm up here going, oh, hi, Jim. This is kind of fun up here. I have that kind of a nature. I'm a playful person, and I love my doctor. He and I are still best friends. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is really interesting. And for some reason, but this is me up here. But I know that was me down there. I didn't feel any real connection other than I didn't hurt up here and down there I hurt. So this is good up here, right? And then somehow I must have rolled over just a little bit. And I noticed that the ceiling, now I know intellectually that that's the hospital ceiling.
Right.
And it's solid. But I saw an aperture of sky. And all of a sudden, through no effort of my own, up, 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 I went up and out. And there I am. Ooh, there's the hospital. There's the Hudson River. There's the bridge. There's my house. Look, there's my house down there. Oh, this is really fun. Cessna level. I'm flying. Whoa, this is really fun. And all of a sudden, I got higher up into the clouds. I go, whoa, are the angels in the cloud? No, it was fluffy clouds like you see in an airplane, right? Well, then all of a sudden, I started to accelerate. I thought, what am I doing? I'm not a plane. I'm a something, but I'm not an airplane. And I started to go forward. Now, other NDEs I've heard, and you have heard too, a white tunnel, a dark tunnel, a void. I was going through the stars. I was going there are the stars. There's the nebula. Beautiful. And how to explain it? The TV show Star Trek, and they talk about the Starship Enterprise going at warp speed. All of a sudden, I was flying at warp speed through these stars, beautiful stars, and the nebula and this and that. And eventually, I don't know how long I flew or how far I went, but ahead of me there was like a horizon, and I could see a light coming up like sunrise at a horizon. And I started to slow down. I have a picture that kind of shows you what the stars look like. This is what the stars look like to me.
Wow.
And then when I got closer to the horizon, this is what the horizon looked like to me.
Wow.
So it was beautiful and bright. Beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful bright. And I got a little bit closer down there, and I could see like a walled, big area, spires that just glistened, and a wall, not so much to keep people out, but kind of to contain this beautiful area.
Mhm.
We always wonder who are we going to meet when we go to heaven. Well, I figured, well, my best friend Mark had died not too long. Maybe Mark? No. My brother Billy, who died in a train wreck at 17? No. Maybe my parents? No. It was my granddad. No, you wonder,
Oh.
okay. It was my grandfather. Why my grandfather? Well, at the time, it didn't make a lot of sense, but afterward, it did. And when I was, I think, 13 or 14, when Grandpa died, he died relatively young. He had a circulatory problem in his legs. They'd amputated a leg. Now they figured, well, he's going to get over that. He's going to survive and he'll live. They said the next day they'll take the other leg. I'm done, he said. He died. Whew, I'm done. He willed himself dead, and he did. So I had no chance to tell him goodbye. He exited. I'm not going to lose both legs. I'm out of here, right? He's a pretty strong-willed man, but I can see him not wanting. He's worked all of his life.
Hmm.
He had a team of horses. He worked all of his life, hardworking man, and he treated me so special. But when I saw him, he was younger. He was wearing his overalls. Farmers wore overalls back then, and he had both legs. He was whole, and he was a little bit younger. But I knew him because it was the face, the voice, just it was Grandpa. So I was just so excited to see him. Like, oh, I know somebody, and this is wonderful. And he said, well, let's go inside. So he walked me in through this entryway and go into a garden, the first garden that I saw. And we humans do not have the words to really describe, as you know, the beauty of what you see. The flowers of every color, every scent, but yet they don't fight with each other. They melt together beautifully.
Mhm.
The sound of tinkling water. The leaves seemed to glisten. The grass seemed to glisten. Everything was so full of energy and life. And I wanted to touch everything. And I was touching, and I must have had hands because I remember touching everything. Excuse me just a moment.
Mhm.
And it was just so wondrous. I was turning, there's this long colonnade, but I wanted to go there. And it was just beautiful. And Grandpa said, well, come on along. We went into another one, another garden. And I thought, oh, this is just where are we going? You know, come on, Sandy, we have to go. Come on. Well, I was just wanting to touch everything. Finally, he walked me into this last garden that had a building with the door open. Now, it was a big building. The door was very bright. And he walked up to the door and said, Sandy, I have to leave you now. I can't go in with you, but you have to go. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go in there. Uh, I was excited about being in heaven, but I didn't want Grandpa. I didn't want to go with Grandpa. He said, you have to go. Excuse me. It chokes me up every time I think about it.
Mhm.
It was so nice to see him. It was wonderful. He kind of gave me a push into the room, a little nudge. You got to go, Sam. Well, I walked into this room like, oh, oh my goodness. It was so full of energy and light and power. I thought, oh, dear. And I heard this word, don't be afraid. Oh, don't be afraid. I was afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Well, I'm going to leave you right here for just a moment. I want to come back to it, but I want to go back and tell you something that really makes a lot more sense now about what's happening
Okay.
right now. I talked about having polio when I was 7 years old. That was the first NDE. Now, if you haven't heard about polio, as I said, there's two kinds of polio. One that is a
Mhm.
killer or a crippler. I guess I was lucky. I had the killer kind, but we didn't know it. I was 7 years old and I was having trouble breathing. So my parents took me to the ER at Glens Falls Hospital, and I was unable to breathe. What happened was the polio was causing my muscles to not move. I was paralyzed. You need muscles to breathe. Well, I remember being in the emergency room. I remember being put on a stretcher and zipping down the hall. The light was zip, 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 zip. All of a sudden, they stopped. A doctor leaned over me, and I still have my scar. That's a tracheotomy scar. That's how they got into me. They got me up into isolation, and they put me into what looks like a submarine. This is what an iron lung
Oh, wow.
looks like. It's like a submarine with portholes and
Oh,
has a
wow.
membrane around it. and it works by not blood pressure, air pressure. When the air pressure comes in, pushes your chest down. 'Cause I couldn't do it myself. Those muscles could not do anything. I was paralyzed, completely paralyzed. When the pressure releases, my lungs would come up. Pressure again, push them down. It is actually an external lung, an iron lung, making me go this way. My head was
Mm.
sticking out. All they could
Oh.
see was my head sticking out, my eyes in a mirror appear like this. It was terrifying because I couldn't speak, I couldn't do anything, but that's where I was. And I remember being very, very afraid and not understanding what was going on. Now, I went in on a Monday. On Wednesday, there were 10 kids, and 10 kids from the same area of Glens Falls is kind of unusual to have polio at Glens Falls Hospital. On Friday, there's only one living, me. Dr. Friedman, he was a young doctor at the time, and he had called my mother and said, Mrs. Duell, Sandy is at crises. We're going to lose her. You need to come in. Well, just before my mother passed in 2006, she told me about that. And I cried. Uh,
Mm.
that day,
It's okay.
she had never talked about it before. Excuse me. She told me that she and Dr. Friedman, the nurse, turned off the machine because I was dead. But she sat there as a mother would, just, you don't want to let go. And she said she watched my little pug nose go from pink to gray. So I was in there that long. And all of a sudden, in the silence, and it was getting dark in the room, she heard clunk. She heard clunk again. She looked in the porthole, and I was kicking the side of I wanted out. I was back. Well, she ran and got Dr. Friedman. They came in and got me going again. I had come back from the dead. So, okay, miraculously, I did survive. I did have to learn to walk and talk all over again, but I did, and here I am. And I always felt guilty, though, as being, why did Sandy Duell live and 9 other kids die? That always was a guilty thing for me. So I really didn't use that, understand that. So let's go back to the other story. Now I can go back to the rest of the story.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, I've told your grandpa walked me up to the door and it was light. And I walked in trembling, but I just somehow knew I had to go in there whether I wanted to or not. And then that voice said, don't be afraid. Well, I was. Well, then again, I heard the voice, Sandra, don't be afraid. I'm here. That was a gentle sound. Then all of a sudden I wasn't afraid anymore. And this room was just full of energy
Mm.
and light. I think what God did was allow me to see him and of him, it in a form that would not be frightening to me. That I would accept what he was saying to me and I wouldn't be terrified. I think he's so much more than we could ever imagine. I mean, he created the universe. He created all of us. But this was a loving, fatherly, nurturing person who who said, "Don't be afraid." And I was awestruck. But then he said to me, and he kind of put me in the spot. He said, "You were given a second life. What value have you done with your life, Sandra?" Remember with polio, I didn't do anything special. I was a mother. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was a wife. Did I do anything special? I don't think so. So then I thought, oh dear, uh, do I have a choice? Well, Carol, I was thinking about it. I had tried to have a good life. I tried to be a good wife. I had a bad first marriage. I still tried to be a good mom to my twins, Eric and Katrina, and my single Bobby. Uh, mhm. Well, they were young. They were only 11 years old, the twins were. And I thought that they, along with their father, would not have the same type of upbringing as my influence on them. I'm far more a faith-driven, loving, nurturing mother. He tries to, but he doesn't have it in him the way I do. So I said, uh, I answered, nothing. I've done nothing of value to make a difference. Please let me go back. I want to be with my children to make a difference. And I was back in my body. Oh, did I hurt? Oh my gosh. The nurses, all of a sudden, they're all around me, and I was back in this poor body that's all bloody and it's a mess. And oh my gosh, it was awful. And after many transfusions and a whole lot of prayers, I had prayers going out in the city of Glens Falls to every religion, every single religion in that area, praying for that little sick dual girl that she will survive. Well, she did, and now she's 79 and a half years old, young, not old. Well,
That
I was so surprised, though, to have gone to heaven. Now, I had a Baptist childhood, a Methodist teen years, and a Presbyterian older years. I knew the 10 Commandments, but I never expected to be forgiven. Why? Something very important. 2 years before this surgery, I had a very colorful NDE. I committed a sin I really felt was unforgivable. It's painful to speak about it, but I know I must for you and for your listeners to understand exactly what I'm bringing to you and offering to you. It was in 1977, and I met and fell in love with a man named Carl. I was divorced from my husband, my first husband. And he made me feel so happy. He made me feel special. He made me feel like I had a value, and I didn't feel that in my first marriage. He was Mr. Charm. He made me feel wanted and beautiful and desired. We had fun. We went places and did spontaneous fun things, and that's not what I had in my marriage. Got married, raised your kids. Go. Life should be more fun, I think. My first husband told me I lived in a fantasy world. Well, I think you should be happy in your world. Well, anyway, I was sublimely happy. I was looking forward to our February wedding. Now, this is Christmas Eve. We were supposed to be married in February, and I was going to marry Carl. And I just felt so happy because he made me feel alive and proud to be a woman and just so good, right? Well, it's Christmas Eve, and I was happy that Carl was coming down to spend it with me. And I was kind of looking for that diamond ring because you're supposed to be married in Valentine's Day, right? So, and he comes all jolly with gifts for everybody, and he's Mr. Wonderful, and he was good to my kids and generous to my kids, and no ring. Okay, it was a nice gift, but it wasn't a ring. And he said, "Oh, we need to talk. Maybe we're going to talk about getting married. Maybe not. Well, maybe." Well, I said, "I have something special to tell you." And he said, "Oh, I have something to tell you too." Well, Carl, you tell me first. I like you. You like me? He said, you think you love me? I said, I can't handle having teenagers again. He was older and had teenagers that were now older. I was considerably younger than he was. And he was Mr. Charm. We have to stop seeing each other. Now? Yes, now. I somehow kept myself together because it was Christmas Eve and my kids, and I love my kids. I felt like the worst hunk of dirt you can imagine. Absolutely heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. So I never felt so low in my entire life. I felt every bad word: stupid, dirty, abused, worthless. I'm an intelligent woman, but I certainly didn't seem that way at that time. Alone, lost. My family had disowned me for loving this man. He was 20 years older, and he was Mr. Charm to me, but they could see what he was, and I couldn't. I was so taken by the romance of how he was so romantic and so loving and all of the things a woman wants to hear and see. He was all of those things. Well, I cried into a washcloth and I sobbed into my pillow. How was I to take care of my 3 children? You see, I had something very special to tell him. I was pregnant, 3 months pregnant with his baby. We were to be married in February, so I thought it really didn't matter. We loved each other. He did not have children of his own. He had adopted children, older adopted children. Oh, what am I going to do? I have my kids barely making it. I worked hard. I took care of my kids, a baby, no Carl, no family. What on earth am I going to do? I have never felt so low in me. I did not do a wise thing. I took enough pills to kill me. Every intention of dying. I could not face another day of the shame that I felt. So stupid. I felt. I knew that my kid's father loved them, so they would have their dad. At least for me, I'm nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I woke up the next morning. I was still alive. I was in terrible pain, and I miscarried that baby Christmas Day, Christmas morning. Talk about guilt. Talk about shame. And I never told anybody about it. Well, Carl kept popping up every now and then. He'd been married twice after that. And he'd pop up at my job, which don't do that. Finally, and I was at City Hall, and I had to tell the mayor, I don't want that man. He was told you can't be on property with standards here, which is very helpful. But anyway, but that's okay. I don't want to talk to him. But finally, one day, about 4 years later, I was walking down the street to our local little grocery store, and a car pulled up next to me. Now, I didn't think anything of it. It's Carl got out of the car and walked over to me. Oh, Sandy, I miss you so much. I love you. I'm so sorry we're not together. What are you doing? Get away from me. On and on he went. I just, I could not listen longer. He said, Carl, remember that day you came to my house on Christmas Eve and you told me that you thought you loved me, but you couldn't. And I have something to tell you, didn't I? I didn't tell you, did I? I was 3 months pregnant with your baby, Carl. And that night, that baby died, and I could have, and you're not worth it. My kids deserve a mother and a father who love them. And that baby unfortunately paid the price for you and me. And I'll never forgive myself. I'll never forgive you for causing that baby's death. And that just dumbfounded him. And I said, don't ever come near me again. He'd pop up get away from me. Don't ever come near me again. And that was important. It really was important because I stood there in shock for a while. But remember, this near-death experience came 2 years after the suicide. Many of us are told if you commit suicide, you won't go to heaven. And that was always on my mind because I had attempted suicide. Although I didn't die, I meant to die. And I certainly felt guilty about that. I was forgiven. I could have stayed in heaven, but I asked to go back, and God allowed me to. I only started talking about this heartbreak in February of 2024 when I gave my first story. I call my story A Glimpse of Heaven, and a presentation. It's very difficult to speak about this because of the personal pain about it and to admit that I'd made these mistakes. But I realized to get my life together, God said, you've got to get up and tell your story. I opened my heart to God, and He came right to me and embraced me with all the love. I was trying to find my way to make a difference all along the way. I didn't know who I was anymore. I went to Bible study groups, reading books. I don't know. What on earth am I supposed to do? Well,
Mhm.
along came my the children's father was good about taking them for the weekend to visit. So we had a very good relationship for divorced people because we loved our kids and we lived his
Mhm.
life. In fact, I actually introduced him to his wife. That's how nice I am. That's another story altogether. Um,
Hmm.
and I go to retreats because I'm able to be who I really am and to relax and not just to be Sandra, not mama, not the working woman who's got it, not the single mother, not the woman who has sinned, just Sandra.
Mhm.
Well, it was Easter weekend, 1980, and there were 20 members of the same church. I did stay in the same church, which is interesting because I did get a lot of arrows shot at me, but that's okay. God gave me a shield. And I we were not the facilitators. The pastor, his wife, and 18 other people, including me, were the attendees. We had facilitators. Normally I drive. A personnel, they got to drive. No, Barbara, my girlfriend, drove. Sky Farm Retreat is a center in the Adirondack Mountains north of Queensbury, New York. And as we drove to Sky Farm, there was drizzling rain. You could see the clouds hanging in the mountains. It was, drizzly, drizzly rain. So we had a pleasant dinner. We socialized. We knew each other from being in church and being in groups, and they knew my story without being overly critical or overly judgmental of my story. They knew who I was. They knew what had happened to me, but they were happy that I was there. But no conversation usually about that, which I'm grateful for. Right. And then we went into our study room. Well, the facilitator took out tablets and pens and a list of questions, a journal. I can do that. I'm a writer. I can do that. Oh, and by the way, this is a silent retreat. There'll be no talking between husbands, wives, for anyone about anything until tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Oh, fine with me. I'm used to being alone. My kids are away. I was so hurt from what Carl had done with me that I had become really into myself, and I had a wall around me. So I was safe with those people because I loved them and knew them. So it's okay to just sit in the chair and just be Sandra, and that was okay. Well, I was sitting there and sitting in this big old comfortable chair, moving around, and oh my gosh, I started to get nervous. And I started to twitch. My hands are going like this. I go, oh, I don't want to be here. But I must say, I run. My nature is to run. It was raining outside. I got up, I threw down the tablet, and I went out through the double doors. Walk, running, no coat on, out into the drizzly rain, not pouring rain, but drizzly. The clouds were all around the pine trees because we're halfway up a mountain, right? Running out into the trees. Just I lived 15 miles away. I was going to run home. I had to get out of there. It sounds crazy, and I felt crazy. Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed because around the peripheral, I could see my pastor and my friends from the church looking at me like, "Oh, she's flipped her lid. Oh dear, this is not good. This is not good." Well, I thought, "Oh dear." I remember kind of backing up to a tree, like a tree stump, so it kind of held me up. And I remember going with my head. I go, "Dear God, why am I here? What am I doing? Why?" And all of a sudden, I go, "Look." I was absolutely surrounded in those beautiful, soft white light. I was not getting rained on. It's as though I was wrapped in a fat white fleece blanket, and I was getting a hug like none other. And it felt, oh, wow, now this is unbelievable. And then I heard the words, "Don't be afraid. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the beginning, son." And I held on to that feeling because I had not felt loved for a long, long time. My family, my husband, no problem. My kid, Jess, but oh, it was so most beautiful love. Just as you know, the most beautiful love when God loves us. And I kind of sniffled a little bit and I turned around. I went back I didn't get wet going back in the building either. And I go into the building, picked up my things, went into my bunk, took a shower, crawled in bed, and I had the best night's sleep you can imagine I've ever had in my life. Well, next morning at 8 o'clock, what happened? What happened? Sandra, what happened? And I go, tell me what you saw. So I thought maybe I dreamt it. It was so unbelievable. Is it possible that it was real? And they said, Sandy, you were out in the rain and you were in a white light. Did you hear anything? You didn't hear any words. So they didn't hear God speak to me. They
Yeah.
saw me in the white light and they saw me there safe and they saw me go into the building. And that was so, so real. That was the beginning of so much. And we went through that and we talked about it. And my pastor, Clayton Burgess, isn't one to give up his pulpit very often.
Mhm.
And I'm not a speaker. Remember, I was a much younger woman before all this had happened. He said, I want you to talk about this at church tomorrow. Tomorrow was Easter Sunday. Appropriate, wasn't it? Yes. So
Wow.
I said, okay, I'm just going to, I don't know what, just Sandy, just say what happened. Just tell them the story. And I did. And that's the first time I shared the NDE with anyone.
Mhm.
And I feel so blessed to have that opportunity. Not very many people actually get this wonderful validation that God loves me so much and loves us so much and made himself visible to me and to others around me. 20
Okay.
people saw this happen. That's what happened. Uh, After that, we talked about it. And I went to church, and I was still pretty confused, though. What does this mean? Here I am,
Mhm.
a single woman. I've had this horrible thing happen in my life. I've had this horrible sin in my life. Um, what am I going to do? Well, all of this distress caused me to feel that I was mentally unstable and mentally troubled. So I went to a psychiatrist to help me deal with the pain of all that was going on in my life, being abandoned and being felt like I was trash and all of this. And I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I thought that's an interesting name for something. So I'm a visual person. And I remember dealing with the different hurts, the hurts of my husband, the hurts of my parents abandoning me, the hurts of what I've done to myself, the hurts. What do I do with them? How do I deal with them? And I couldn't, I, being a visual person, I made it a purple dragon and put it on my back because I couldn't reach it. I could not get it off of my back. I knew what it was. I knew what it was doing. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. And I had to get that purple dragon. It was a difficult time. I was moody. I was short-tempered with my kids. They remember those days that I was struggling with trying, who is Sandra? Why am I
Mhm.
here? What is my purpose in life? God, what do you want me to do? Um, I struggle with feelings of emptiness and aloneness. I'd had two psychiatrists that helped a bit, but finally God gave me Dr. Charles Menzel. And I wrote him a letter recently. I hope hears this because I wrote him a letter and it was
Mhm.
returned. Apparently his office is closed and I didn't have it for it. And maybe he's gone to heaven. I don't know, but I wrote Dr. Menzel a letter. This man saw within me the spirit that I have, and he knew that he had to heal this broken spirit that was so strong. And, here I am, a single mom, and here I am trying to do this and trying to do that and all of this. Well, he he taught me how to put things into order. Um, I learned to reduce my pain and misery by learning to change my emotions, my
Mm.
behaviors, and my thinking patterns. That was a new thing for me. I'm telling you, throw it on me, throw it on me. No, 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 no more. I made my life worth living. For the first time, I saw that my past had the power to destroy me. I said, no, no, no. The past can't hurt me unless I let it, and I'm not about to let it. I let go of it. I started to focus on the present and the future. So my life's purpose changed at that NDE. And I
Mhm.
started to find out what is Sandra's purpose. Well, I joined High Peaks Hospice in Queensbury, New York, and I had wonderful patients. I had one who was the most dear soul, and he loved to sing. And he and I sang. He was a Hollywood actor. I didn't recognize him because he was, I can't mention him, but he was older, of course. I cannot mention him, but he was a Hollywood actor. And we sang songs together. And his wife had died, and he was all alone. And he and I had the best time together. We really did. And when he passed, I said, this still isn't, no, no. So then, okay, I joined the Glens Falls Hospital psych department because, okay, I can help deal with psychodrama. I help with psychodrama. I help them. Nope, that's still not it. Nope. Okay. I worked at Saratoga Hospital. I started a program for manic depressive women being let out of Marcy Hospital. And it was a big thing where these ladies, they really were nuts. Family put them there because they had troubling times and they just left them there. These women were just ladies who were lonely. They
Mhm.
wanted a little bit of love, a little bit of caring.
Yeah.
They had to learn how to go back into public, how to go grocery shopping, how to dress, how to take care of themselves. And I did that. My ladies went from one-on-one with me to going to the Saratoga Performing Arts with me together. The ladies grew and blossomed, but still, that wasn't it. Not it. Nope. Okay, so I had to keep going. Okay. Then I talked to small church groups, but only about the NDE, nothing about I talked to widows groups. They'd like to know that, yes, your loved one is on the other side, but
Right.
nothing else. Well, I never felt complete. I still knew something was wrong. Well, on May 22nd, 2022 was the date that the lights came on and the bells rang, hit me in the head with a rock. I was going into the front hall foyer to get the towels my husband and I were brought to the foot. And all of a sudden, I started to pass out. And I'm 6 feet tall, and there's a long way to the floor. I remember falling. 6 months prior to that, I'd had back surgery. And my little brain said, no, 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 you can't fall. You have back surgery. I remember taking my arms and putting them behind me as I was falling backwards. Hit my head against the door. I remember the door hitting my head 3 times. I remember sliding down the door on my hands. Oh, they hurt. I remember screaming. My poor husband came running. There I am, laying flat on the floor. Can't move. I had broken both of my wrists, my neck, and had a major concussion. I'm laying there going, "Ah, I am absolutely helpless." Well, sometimes God has to hit you in the head to slow you down. And he got me. So as I, I love God, and I kind of, yeah, I know he loves me. He gets a chuckle. He made me, so he has to get a chuckle out of me, right? So I'm laying in bed, looking out my window at the pond. We have a pond behind our house. I'm looking at ducks and things. I'm laying there with my arms in two splints like this, laying in bed, poor head, oh, my neck in a brace. And I go, oh gosh, dear God, what on earth do you want me to do? And what more can I do? I don't know what on earth you want me to do. And as loud as you are talking to me, he said, Sandra, you're going to get well. You're going to get up and you're going to tell your story. The whole story, Sandra, not just the NDEs, all of it. You need to tell everyone your whole story. You have to do it. Oh, no, 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 no. Sandra? No, no. Sandra? You can't tell God no, right? I want to know. Well, okay. So I thought, how am I going to do it? How on earth am I going to tell my story? Right? Well, okay. So my excuses were, okay, I'd had a stroke, so the excuse was, well, I can't talk in public because my speech was off. Good excuse, right? So I'm thinking, this is as I'm recovering from the fractures with the arms like this and the neck like this. Well, finally, it got down to November. I'm going, the excuses aren't working. God is not, no, no. And my head is like this. And I'm sitting in a radiology office to get more x-rays on my neck because, oh, it was awful. And I go, oh. So I'm talking, it was December 10th, 2023. And I turned to a lady who had the same neck brace on. I go, just think, when we go to heaven, we aren't going to hurt. She goes, you're going to heaven? I go, yeah. So we're talking back and forth with the neck. Yeah, I do. Don't you? Yeah, I do. Well, anyway, uh, we're talking about this. And she goes, do you know Deb Davis? Who is Deb Davis? Well, Deb Davis is the president of what's IANDS, IANDS? Well, it's an organization that's about near-death experiences. Oh, really? Is there such a thing? I've had them. I didn't know there was an organization. Oh, wow. Can I have her number, please? So, go ahead and get our next. I talked with my husband. Hey, I know what you can do next. I know the answer. Poor Bob to the car. I know the answer. Get your next. Well, my neck will get fixed eventually. Well, okay. So, I got the call from Deb, and she talked to me. And in January, she said, would you like to talk to the local IANS group? That's about 50 miles from my house. Oh, now I'm committed. And I can't back down, can I? So I thought, what on earth am I going to talk about? So wait a minute, Sandy. It's not up to you. God will tell you exactly what He wants you to talk about. And He did. What I talk about is exactly the way I kind of moved things around just a little bit. I finally put the polio in a different position because it makes more sense when it goes that way.
Yeah.
But I did exactly what God told me to do. Here I am talking. My first time, a little bit nervous and shaking. There were like 15 people there. I had like a little slideshow going about, like, I showed the picture of this one and the picture of the iron lung and the aperture looked really, nice little picture of the aperture and all those little fun things. And then all of a sudden, I stopped talking. My daughter's eyes got like this because I was supposed to talk about something else. Well, God said, Stella, talk about how to heal your broken heart, Sandra. What? That's only something I did. How do I tell someone how to do it? That's when I started to talk about how to heal a broken heart. So I'm a visual person. Took me a while to find the heart, but this is what I did. There are no books. No one told me how to do it. Nothing anywhere. It's what Sandra did to save Sandra's life and put my life into order. So picture your heart as having all these little fractures. Put a little cute little door handle on it. Now, life is made up of many, many things, good things and bad things, right? Well, when you first start to open a little thing, the little thing is like, oh, for example, Aunt Bessie didn't like me. Well, maybe she was getting old and getting grumpy. So you take out Aunt Bessie didn't like me. Maybe she liked me once. Maybe it's okay. Let it go. Throw it away. Put in something nice. Get some sunshine. Put that in there. As you start to go along, I started to deal with my childhood, Carl, the dead baby, all those things. And eventually, my heart healed. So what I do when I do my talks, like I'm talking to you right now, I talk about it. Imagine your heart
Mhm.
having many, many fractured little hearts. Pull out the little doors one at a time. In America, we have Advent boxes, and you call it little drawers. And just you have to be a visual person, so pull that out. And when you're ready to face your pain, do another one. Don't put yourself into too much pain at once. It's on your terms. Ask God to direct you, and He will. Be gentle on yourself because it is, when you start to deal with all the things that are in there, it is gut wrenching. Believe me, I know. So reach in, look at it, deal with it, and throw it away. But reach in and put something good in. Sunshine, something good. Then reach up, close the door, go on. The biggest thing is forgiving. You have to forgive. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone has someone to forgive, or they need to be forgiven. And don't be ashamed of what you've done. Don't judge what you've done. Don't suppress it. If you admit to who you are, I am Sandra. Don't rush the healing part. The deepest hurts usually come from family, so be ready for that. Uh, Jesus tells us to forgive. He forgives us long before we forgive ourselves. That's what I found out. Your soul deserves peace that comes from forgiving others and yourself. Once you reach that point, and I was starting to share it with the audience because my daughter was just she had no idea where this came from, but it came from God. The words came from God. And on you go. When you finally keep learning that exercise, celebrate it because thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's another step. And this is where the healing begins. Be kind to yourself. The hardest part is to forgive yourself. It took me much longer to forgive me for killing, for
Mhm.
the miscarriage of the baby. It really did. One step at a time, but you deserve to be healed. You deserve to be happy, to enjoy a normal life. Um, as you go along, you start to set up a little bit straighter, get those shoulders back, and all of a sudden your heart opens up. And it's like, whoa, the weight is off your back. And never, 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 never is a purple dragon. I have a purple dragon, and it's a very pretty pin. I keep it as a reminder that she will never be on my back again. She has to be pretty because that's the way you have to be. But she's a nasty dragon, and she gave me a lot of aggravation, but she's gone from my life.
Oh,
Now,
I like that.
everyone hopes to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. It's the dying part that frightens us. We are
Mhm.
promised everlasting life in John 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only son. You have to remember that for whoever believes in him. Now, I didn't think that I would be forgiven, but I was. I'm so grateful because I'm here because of it today. Jesus is our Savior, and believe that. Um, those of us who have transitioned will tell you about that. And our life here is just a little, as you know, a little blip in time. That
Yeah.
over there is forever. And no matter how hard your life is here, don't give up on your life. Live it to its fullest, but you're going to go on to something a whole lot better. So my life has been really one trauma after another, but I don't
Mhm.
let it defeat me. I let God's
Mhm.
love lift me and bring me higher, and that's what happens. Um, I've been given this wondrous gift. I got to see firsthand that God is real and that He speaks to me and that He has touched me and that He is alive in me and that I know I have everlasting life. And I hope I get to stay next time. But be assured that heaven is beautiful, that it's real. God is real and He is there. He's also here too. And welcome Him.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to be quiet to listen because sometimes He speaks in a whisper. Sometimes He hits you in the head with a rock, drop me on the floor. That was rather dramatic. Maybe he didn't quite mean to hit me that way, but it happened and it had to happen, and I accept that. Fortunately, I'm pretty well healed from it now. But sometimes cold weather makes this wrist hurt a little bit, but that's okay. I'll take it any day over the other. Have I been changed? Absolutely. My energy level is there. I'm far more intuitive than I was before.
Oh.
And God gives us these gifts. Now, some people have the gift of seeing, some people have the gift of prophecy, some people have the gift of. I seem to have the gift of understanding, and I'd like to tell you about one of those if I might. I've
Sure.
helped 7 people pass, and it's a very personal and private thing to do. And God brings them to me. They come to me. I don't go looking for them.
Mhm.
But one particular lady shows you a number of different things that God does for you. This woman was my sister-in-law's mom. So I had met Caroline because I love my sister-in-law and my brother Doug, and I loved her husband Charles. So I was with Charles when Charles passed. That's the first time I've been laying in any room with a person as they died. And they were giving him little moisture things on his lips, and he hadn't talked for days. And I said, well, he can hear you. No, I said, he can hear you. So I went over to Charles with a nice wet sponge because his lips were all wet. I said, Charles, don't you wish this was a popsicle? Uh-huh. I told you he could hear you. Well, but anyway, shortly thereafter, he went to heaven. But that's how I was involved in this family. Well, I knew that Caroline was at the end of her years. She had done a couple of years, and it was time for her to go. But I worked for a large senior complex in upstate New York, and the home office was in Burlington, Vermont. So I checked with Diane, make sure her mother was okay, because I said I would be there when mom passes. Oh yeah, mom's doing fine. She's doing better today. I go, oh, okay. Well, we went up to Burlington, Vermont, which is like, X number of hours away from Queensbury, New York. And we had the meeting. Now, normally Charlie Brush takes us all out to a wonderful dinner in Burlington, Vermont. It's a beautiful city to be in. Well, all of a sudden I said to my husband, we got to go now. I feel it. I said, Charlie, I'm sorry. I've got to go now. And I said, get in the car and just start going. Within an hour, I got a call from my sister-in-law. Where are you? I'm on my way. Mom is really taking a trip. I said, I'm on my way. We're 3 hours away. I'm on my way. Tell her I'm coming. I'm on my way. So we drove as fast as we could to get to the hospital where Caroline was. Well, I walk into the room and oh goodness, there's Caroline lying there in a fetal position, and there's Diane pacing, and there's the hospice nurse like this when I looked at her, and my husband and brother were standing there. I thought, something's wrong. Something's not right here. And I looked at the nurse and okay. Um, I said, fellas, I think you need to leave. This is a very proper lady, and she didn't want the men there. So I said, Caroline, I'm going to send the men away. And I could sense her calming down. So I said, Diane, she is hanging on for you. Diane's an only child, and her mother loved her to pieces. I said, Diane, you've got to let her. I can't. I said, Diane, she needs to hear the word. Can't do it. I said, okay. I crawled in bed with Caroline, and I took this. Oh, she was the most beautiful, sweet lady. And I
Mm.
put her head in the crook of my arm like this. And I had her so she was right here with me, right? And I was watching her breathing. And I had this hand on her pulse so I could see what was happening. And I had Diane and she in a circle. We were in a circle. So I said, Caroline, no, this is Sandy. It's okay to go. Doug loves Diane. I love Diane. We'll take care of her. Charles has waited 4 years for you. It's okay for you to go. It's time for you to go. It's okay. It's okay. And I watched her, but she curled up a little bit more into my arms so that she is right here. And she's looking at me like this. And I was watching the pulse on the neck. And she took a breath, she took another breath. And she opened her eyes and she smiled. She was like,
Oh,
praise God. That is so special to know that I was able to help her. Another one, I'm going to
oh.
go tell you one about another one. This one was
Mhm.
a very hard one. She was my best friend. And
Yeah.
best friends are very special. But see, God uses me in different ways with different people. But being intuitive, I sense what's going on and can do that. And Barbara was my bestie. She was a woman who had unbelievable wealth. I'm not, I don't come from a rich family. She came from a very rich family, dysfunctional, but rich. And she was the moderator, and I was the assistant moderator at a Presbyterian women's group. Well, she was also with the country club and also in the garden club. Well, Barbara knew my story, and I was always helping her out. And I would send her on an errand, especially when I'm doing like a wedding or a big event at church, because Barbara was always in the way. Take Barbara. Barbara needs to go get Barbara. You need to go get this money at the store. And she took credit for everything that I did. That's perfectly fine. That was Barbara. She was my bestie. Well, she says, Cian, what am I going to do? She was healthy at this time. What am I going to do when it's my time? I go, well, just call me. I'm only an hour away. I'll be there for you, Barbie, always. Every year, she'd call me for her birthday. We'd go to Red Lobster because she could eat like a truck driver. And the kids gave her the gift certificates. And all I eat is like the stuffed mushrooms because I'm the gastric bypass. I've lost over 160
Mm.
pounds. I'm not about to gain weight, but she ate enough for both of us. Anyway, it was a fun thing to do. And my we had a mutual friend, and she says, Sandy, Barbara's at the hospital, and she's not doing very well. She's having some major problems. I go, "Well, what's the matter?" And well, I said, right now I've got the flu. I had the flu. I can't go near Barbara right now. But, oh dear, what am I going to do? I promised her I'd be
Mhm.
with her. Well, she's not going to die. It's just she's just having some problems. Okay, all right, all right. Well, then, like 4 days later, Sandy, Barbara's they're going to take Barbara off life support tomorrow. What? She had a problem. They put her on life support. So, okay, I'm beyond the flu. I promised this woman. Before, what I would do with my friends who knew me, I would teach them how to go into a safe place, a happy place. I gave them visual relaxations. And she always had a happy place. I said, Barbara, when you're lonely, go to this happy place. Well, I said to my husband, Bob, I've got to go. I had a mask just in case I didn't. I walk in. I expected all the machines to be on Barbara, right? Not a machine was on. Oh dear, she's dead. Well, I look up and there's this hand, very hoarse. Hi, Sandy. She had a voice. She'd had that in her voice. Hi, Sandy. Barbie. Barbie. I go over and I sat with her. I look at, oh, darn it. She had, her chin whiskers were sticking out. Her hair was a mess. Her nails were filthy. I said, oh. So I went over to the sink and I washed her face. I wish I had a pair of tweezers, but I would have tweezed her little chin whiskers. Uh, she's still alive. Nobody around. I washed up her face. I washed up her hand. I put some lotion on her arm, and I talked to her. And she said, Stan, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I said, well, it's time to go. It's okay. I'm here with you. Don't be afraid. Uh, can you help me get to my happy place? I said, sure. We'll talk about it. Get you to the happy place. Well, we talked about the fun things that we did. I loved the theater. She had all the money in the world. She had tickets to everything. The husband didn't want to go. Hey, Sandy, do you want to go to the play? Parker doesn't want to go. Pick me up. We go to the play, right? We did all these things together. Uh, I said, we talked about the fun things. And she said, Sandy, I'm going to die. I said, okay, you want to talk about dying now? We talked about living. We talked about friendship. And we know that there's heaven. You know what you're going to find there. When you're ready to go, it's up to you. She said, well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Will you please help me find my happy place? So I thought, okay, she's my best friend. I loved her dearly. I held her hand. I stroked her face. I cuddled with her, right? And all of a sudden, in walked the granddaughters. What are you doing here? I was watching Barbara's pulse. She was almost gone. She was so close to being gone that they came in and she stepped back. Oh, dear. Sandra, what are you doing here? So I'm here to see Barbara. They didn't want me there. They knew that with me, not that someone's probably dying. They'd see it as a negative, not as a positive thing. So
Mm.
I thought, oh dear, I can't stay there with him. He doesn't want me to. But I walked over to Barbara and I gave her a kiss on the cheek. I said, Barbie, remember where you were? You can go back there anytime you want. Remember, she was a music major and she and I would sing at church because I like to sing. I said, you and I are going to sing in heaven and we're going to have a rocking good time because we had more fun than we were like kids at the things that we did and the plays that we went to and the things that we did. And she was like a sister that I never had. And it was a good thing, but I've got to go. So I left and I got a call back from the friend that was there, Sandra. Barbie left in an hour after you left. She left on her own terms. So
Wow.
that is the gift that God has given me. That I've helped altogether 7 dear souls. Um, it hasn't been one for a while. I think right now my job is doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I don't need to write a book because why would I write a book? I share how to heal a broken heart with anyone who hears it. It's not something that I own. It's a theory that I
Yeah.
use for myself. It's not copywritten. It's my gift of love. I do not charge when I talk to people because it's my gift to whomever. I do like to do live presentations because then I can actually touch the people and they can touch me. And I'm a touchy person. You can feel it, can't you? Well,
I
when
can. I sure can.
when I go to the meetings, I always go with this little sack of goodies. Can you see the little sack of goodies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's always a heart in there. And I'll say, no, take out the heart first and set the others aside. So I tell them, now take your heart. I start to
Oh.
say how to heal the broken heart. Take the heart and put it against your heart. Now, as I'm telling them what to do and what to feel, they're holding their heart. Now take your heart away and put it in your hand. Now remember what you were feeling when I said that, my husband's return. Not what I said, what you were feeling. Now take that heart home. Do not put it in your pocket and do not put it away. Gentlemen, put it on the refrigerator and remember it as what you are, what it means to you, what you learned about yourself today. Now, the little stones, I used to talk about myself in some groups. I'll say I was a fractured Tiffany lamp. I had to give myself a value. So what am I? I'm a fractured Tiffany lamp. I'm not going to be a Walmart special. I'm a Tiffany lamp, right? Well, wait, take a minute. Think about this, right, MJ? What does a lamp do? It shines light down, right?
That's
On
right.
what? One person, one thing? Do you think I'm going to stay in one place? Does God want me to stay in one place? No. So what they get are all these cute little pieces of colored glass. And I'll say, oh, this is what you've learned about me. Take this and share me with anyone that you know. Share what you've learned
Oh.
from me and give it away. Give me away. Let me go all over the world, and I am all over the world. People are hearing my message. I've gotten over 1,000 responses. As of today, I have a count for you. As of yesterday morning, I have 287,599 views. As of this morning, there was another almost 1,000. I haven't added that up. 10,298 likes and 4,224 replies. Many of them are file this thick of people who have written to me and said, I need your help. Can you help me with this? Can you tell me this?
Oh.
And I respond. And after a while, they don't need me anymore. One particular one was a wonderful gentleman who was a concert pianist. And I have dealt with depression because I had depression, severe depression, and I overcame it. And he wanted to hear about how I did that and how I handled that. And then he sent me his music, and it was beautiful. But all over the world, it just keeps going. I tell people, my story must not be over yet because I'm still moving. We're still
That's
talking, so
right.
yours will go on.
Mhm.
I'm blessed to be his messenger, and he continues to send me to people like you and to others. But I'm not a theologian. I'm not a theologian. I am not a minister. I'm just a
Mhm.
regular lady who's had extraordinary wonderful things happen in my life.
Right.
My messages are not sermons, but they're just sharing information. And I hope to bring some happiness to some people that are hurting, that God
Oh,
does in you. And some people
absolutely.
had a much harder life than I have, but I have a heart full of love, and I love giving it to you and to your people. And that's my
Thank you.
purpose right now. If I'm here for 1 day or 100 days or 10 years, I'm here to do that. And
Oh,
that's
that is
basically
so beautiful.
what I
What a
am.
beautiful story. Well, some parts of it were really beautiful, and some really hit me in the heart.
Mm.
You know what parts those are. And just while we're here, I would like to thank you for sharing that. That must be
And
hard every single time.
it is, but
Mm,
God is happy. I can feel it.
yeah,
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 He's
yeah.
happy.
Oh, thank you. Oh boy, that almost made me cry. Sorry.
I
I
did.
had to
I'll
breathe
cry for
for a
both of us.
second. Sorry.
I'll take my glasses
Oh
off
my
so you can see my
goodness.
glasses. I feel so blessed to have such a tangible, what what is the word? Familiarity with God. He's with me. I can hear him. I can feel him. Uh, he helped me change, putting the broken heart into another presentation. Or as I look at my messages, I pray before I do this. Well, we're going to talk about this today, or we don't do that. We're going to not do this. He is so real, and he's so alive, and not everyone gets that. Not only, what, 3 different times, truly real, that white column, oh my gosh, talk about being wrapped. Sometimes I say to him, "I know I don't have a white column, but I feel it. I feel your love, dear God. I feel it. I need to feel it because I'm
Hmm.
dealing with some illnesses. I need to feel, I know my purpose is to keep going on, and I will go on
Yeah.
as long as I
Ab-
have breath."
While we're on that topic there, Sandra, may I ask, what did God look like to you?
He looks
I'm sure
like,
you get asked this a lot.
yes. Initially, I kind of said he looked like a an older person. That's the wrong word. I wasn't being honest when I first said that. It is a very bright entity. And an entity, yes, the whole room was full of light, but his part of the room where he was, there was other people, the other entities there, but where God was far more bright and pulsating. But yet, I I felt a face, or felt like an older grandfather person. I think he truly let me see him where I wouldn't be afraid of him. We can't imagine what
Okay.
God looks like. There's no way we can
Hmm.
imagine. I mean, he created the universe and all of that. But yet he gives me these messages, or he'll say, "Oh, Sandy, reach out to so and so today because maybe," and sure enough, that person is needing something. Or you see a stranger on the sidewalk, and you'll say something, and you'll see them like, "You don't know what you did for me that day, did you?" I've had a young secretary who worked for me once, and I met her years later, and she said, "You don't know what you did. I was going to walk off the job. I'd lost all my
Mm,
self-confidence. You were the executive secretary, and you sat me down, and you said, 'I'm with you, and God is with you, and you will be good.'"
oh.
And she said, "Now I have your job." But I had left because of the confidence that I gave her. You I don't have a wall around me anymore. I think I had a wall years ago to protect me from
Yeah.
being hurt. You can shoot arrows at me. People do shoot arrows at me, but they don't hurt me
Hmm.
because God is with me.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
love that I'm sharing, the people of the letter I got from this gentleman from Brisbane, Australia. Oh my gosh. It made me cry because it made me feel so good that I gave him comfort in the hardest. He had lost his dad, and he didn't know that dad could hear him when he was going unconscious. And I said, "Yes, he can hear you," because I heard people when I was away too. And it gave him the hope. And oh my gosh,
When
we're
you were in that realm and you seen God and you seen the other beings, what did they look like? Are these what like do these beings look human to you, or are they just more of a light being?
I didn't see any human. I felt
Hmm.
light spirit, big lights. I didn't. I
Okay,
saw. I knew that was the main one. That was God, or that was our
of
Creator.
course.
There were other feelings. I don't know what they were, but I didn't see any form. that way at all. But in my mind, it was a fatherly figure, and I felt love. And once he had said, Sandra, don't be afraid. That's the same voice I've heard. So when I was in bed with my arms like this and, in splints, you're going to get up. Well, that's the same voice that told me, okay, and you're going to get up and
Right.
you're going to get well and you're going to live your life. And then I said, okay, then let's take a look at this little outline. What do you want me to do today? Is there anything you want to add to it or not add to it? But there in the room, uh, I didn't get to see all of heaven. I think I would have liked to have seen more, but I was allowed to. I saw the most important thing. I saw God. And
Absolutely.
when I left, I didn't hear other voices, only his. And I heard my
Mm,
grandfather. I knew he was talking to me. I heard my grandfather. I heard
mhm,
music in the distance, but I did not hear voices anywhere else. And in that room, it was just full of energy and light and
mm,
love. Just a shroud enshrouded. And that's what I felt at retreat. That beautiful,
mhm.
beautiful, warm, fleecy hug of love. And I wish everyone could feel it because it makes life so much better. Mm.
Sandra, I heard you mention many times through the interview, from God as well. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
So my question to you, that was my very, I wrote that down. Do you feel you've lived a life of fear? Because that is a common comment that keeps coming up. So obviously someone knows that above us. Did you have a life full of fear?
I had some very bad things in my life happen to
Yeah.
me, and I was always afraid
Okay.
and always kept into myself. But when God says, don't be afraid, it's reassuring. But yes, I had fear. Now I'm fearless, I think. What
Well,
about
that
you?
really tells us something because
I
then he
become
really
fearless.
knows you.
Yeah, and he gave me the courage. I mean, the first time my knees were shaking when I was doing that first one for Deb Davis up at the Ions Group. I went back for a second. I said, "Listen, folks, you know my story." I went back. I said, "Not a third time, no, not a third time." But the first time, oh my gosh, my voice was. It is video. The first one is video, and you can see how nervous I was, and my words were almost too fast a little bit. My knees were shaking.
Oh.
But then once I relaxed and just started to tell the story, and once God took over and the healing heart, they were not my words. He gave me the words. My daughter, as I said,
Yeah.
sat there just in awe of what happened. And my daughter is amazing because she sees these things happen. Katrina, for example, my daughter, she was all upset. She'd lost her car keys and she didn't know where they were. And she thought, house keys, she thought she had lost them at the ocean.
Mhm.
They just came back from the ocean, right? Well, fine. And she came in all upset. I said, wait a minute, let me think about it. And I said, where are you? I'm on the way home. I said, come back to my house. I said, Katrina, they're on the top of your car. Her keys were on the top of her car. Um, she, Mom, you need to find something. Okay, Mom, uh, I, I can't, my husband, after we're only married 3 months, he called me. He was crying. Sandy, I lost my wedding ring. I was over at camp. He had a hunting camp and he had a wood stove going and he was cutting wood because we were going to go hunting that fall.
Mhm.
And he said, Sandy, I've lost my wedding ring. I said, honey, it's okay. It's a ring. I'll get you another one. He went to work. They tore the sinks all apart because he didn't know when he lost it. He came home. He was all in tears. Wait a minute, Bob. Bob, it's in the fire. It's in the wood. No, it can't. No, no, the wood stove is on fire. The wedding ring will melt. I go, Bob, it's in the fire. I see the ring in the fire. Went back to camp, pulled out the ashtray. What do you think was in there? And was that platinum and gold wedding ring melted? I don't think so, because here it is.
Oh my goodness.
Talk about a blessing. That wedding ring did not melt. Oh, and I started to talk about Katrina. She goes, oh, Mom, I need your help. I said, what did you lose this time? Mom, I can't find my credit card and my driver's license. They were together. I said, okay. What, you go to the store? No. Did you have it? Well, yeah, Walmart delivered. Did you pay Walmart with it? Yeah. I go, Wait a minute. It's in a Walmart bag. Oh, but Mom, they're in the garbage. I go in the garbage. They're in a Walmart bag in the garbage. Mom, I found them. Okay. We laugh about it, but another situation, this is, you've got me really wound up now. I had friends who went to a fair, the state fair in Syracuse, and I was going to go visit them. Well, you know how big the state fair in Syracuse is? I said, I'll find you. Now, I will find you. Now, I drove alone in my car to Syracuse, like 4 hours, and I was looking for my friend Rhymes. I took a right turn. I went in, took a right turn, took a left turn. Wait a minute. Nope, it's that way. And who do you think was right over there? A half a mile right over there.
Wow.
John and Carol Grimes. You don't mess with this. You don't
I
mess with.
know, right?
And
Wow.
it seems funny, but yet it's a blessing. And okay, all right, it's okay. But it's some of the fun things that go. I really think that God has a sense of humor, because look at some of the animals that He's created, and beautiful things, and butterflies, and some ugly little critters, and things like that, and
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
And I just feel so blessed to have Him in my life and to meet people like you. I
Oh,
truly do.
thank you so much. You as well.
You're
Absolutely. If you could give one actually, no, I don't want to go there yet. I would love to ask you if you're open to contact from the audience members.
I am. I'm very open because I know that people will hear this and they'll have questions. I have an email,
Mhm.
Sandra.Rose inspires. Sandra.Rose.inspires, INSPIRES dot at Gmail.
Perfect.
Sandra.Roseinspires@gmail. And I
Perfect.
will answer them. I have a pile this big of letters that I have
Oh,
answered. What happens was sometimes a person will come to me. If I can help them, I'll help them. If sometimes I can't. But then pretty soon they don't need me anymore, and that's fine. And off they go. Or I try to answer every comment I get on a podcast. And I've
hmm
answered the good
hmm
and the bad,
that's perfect. I
and
like
I
that.
answer them. And
Hmm
I am open. My heart is open. My life is open to share with others. And if I can bring a little bit of peace or happiness to another person, I'm happy and good.
Sandra, are you afraid of dying?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. I just wonder how much longer. I said to my husband today, because I'm dealing with something, right? Why do I take the money and stay at the ocean for 3 months this summer, or do I wait till next summer when we get the big annuity and we can afford it better? Uh, no, I know that it doesn't hurt to die. And I know that when I kept my promise, because when I went to heaven, I said, please, I'll make a difference. I'm now making a difference. I've obviously had number 14 interview, another one coming up, 15. Maybe I got one more to go. Maybe I still have another month to go.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry about that. I worry about
Yeah.
today, living
hmm
today, enjoying today. And when I go, I go. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not,
Oh,
I want it to happen. I have a husband who I love and I want to be with. I have
of
great
course.
grandchildren. I have 3 kids, Eric and Katrina and Bob. I'm very proud of all of them. I
hmm
love my grandchildren, and now I'm a great grandma. And this summer we're going to go to New York and we're going to see that little great granddaughter we have not seen
Oh.
before. She's a year old, and we're looking forward to seeing her. She's a funky little kid like her grandma, I think.
That's so adorable. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's fun.
And I should say, you know, I've heard many guests say the same as you. Like, actually, many times I've heard the guests say, I can't wait to get back. Like, I can't wait. But one thing I did want to ask you is when we go to heaven, do you think that heaven is a place like here? Do you think it's got buildings? And do you think it's like that here? Have you ever thought about that?
I think heaven is what I saw, and it was buildings. I think we have a
Yeah.
job when we go to heaven. I don't think we're going to sit around doing nothing. I think maybe I've been here before, but that
Mhm.
I saw spires and buildings beyond that. When I came
Oh.
down and
Mhm.
landed, there was a city. So there are
Mhm.
buildings. And we may look different. I don't know. I didn't see any other people, so other than my grandfather. So what form it'll be in, I don't know. but
Mhm.
I think that there will be something there
Me
and that we're gonna
too.
have a job to do. I mean,
Mhm.
he may bring us back to do something else, I don't know.
Oh gosh.
I I'd like to stay this time, this has been kind of a rough road, I'd like to stay
Whoa,
this
this one's
time.
been bad. Right? Oh my goodness. I'm happy to hear that. I always love to ask the guests what they see. Many times they say it looks a lot more real, and that actually that the whole experience was really, really real.
Mhm. Those
I
trees
felt
were
that
real,
too.
those fountains were
Yeah.
real, those
Yeah.
buildings were real, the
Yeah.
flowers, the scent, it was real, and they're but we don't have words. I could say the flowers were beautiful, but we don't have the words to really say how beautiful they were, and the fragrance.
Mhm.
I imagine all these and everything just sparkled. It was
Oh,
just
that sounds so
beautiful.
gorgeous, right?
So I'm gonna go back someday.
Don't worry. You are going to, just not right now,
I
right?
have no doubt that he'll let me go home
Yeah. You've
when
got
he's
way I
ready.
mean, you've got too much work to do.
I think
Sorry.
probably I have a bit more to do, yes. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's
Yeah,
I
it's
love my
okay.
life. I love my husband, I love my
Yeah.
family,
Oh,
I love living in Florida. I have some dear friends. I made a difference in some lives of people around me, and that makes me feel good, and I'm
yeah.
very happy right now in this place that I'm at, but whatever he wants me to do, I will do it.
If you could leave one message for humanity, what would that be?
God and heaven
Only
are real.
one.
One,
Yeah. Mhm.
God is real.
Mhm.
God is real. Yeah.
Sandra, you are such a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
You give me goosebumps when you said that. You really
Thank
are.
you. Thank you.
Your heart is so warm. And yeah, you have had some experiences, but boy, are you one strong woman. Wow. I don't know if they make them like they used to, hey?
I have a daughter. I have 2 sons.
Just like you.
They're strong
Oh, I
people.
got goosebumps.
She has a
Yeah.
wonderful heart. She's maybe
Oh,
she's able to be, hurt more than I am, but, Katrina has a lovely heart. Eric is a military man. He gives his life for our country. He is always doing things for our country. Bob is, in fact, he's Captain Bob on boats on Lake George. They're good people, and, um, a lot of it because I came back and was a part of their life. Now that they understand the
mhm.
story, because I had to tell them when I first did my first talk publicly that they're going to hear that mom had attempted suicide and I was pregnant. They didn't know anything about that. It was a total secret for them. And they, I think they respect me differently. I
Oh,
think
that's
before they
good to
thought I was just
hear.
being a miserable mom because I was divorced, but now they see what I've been through and they see who I am today and they see their father and his life and our interblended life, that they
Mhm.
respect me. And I think they're stronger because I was in their lives and have encouraged them to be
Absolutely.
themselves. And the same thing with the grandchildren. And well, I have one great grandson who I haven't met the little girl, but I've met Xander. Xander is my man. I just love this. Hold on, this little boy. Let me just stop that real quick. And didn't need that. And Xander is such a joy. And we're going to go next summer for a wedding in the family, my husband's
Uh,
family, and they all love me. And we're going to go and see his family. And I want to go back because I have not seen my family up there in 6 years. And we're going to go visit all the family, and we're going to be at a wedding and celebrate that. And I get to see my Xander man. Xander's come down here to visit us in Florida, but he says something to his grandmother. I wish he called me Nana. Nana and Pop could come for my birthday. His birthday's at Christmas, and he was hoping that we would
oh.
come. I wish we could. We can't
Mm.
come because we're coming in June. We can't come right now.
Mhm.
But for him to want us to be there, and he sees us because of FaceTime. He sees us, not
Yeah.
very often, but there's a connection with that little boy and
Mm.
me that's very, very
Mhm.
special. And
Hmm.
I come from a family of my people came on the Mayflower, for goodness sakes. We've been here forever. My son's a soldier. His relatives were knights in England. The de Courtenay family
Wow.
is an
Got
amazing,
quite the family history. Wow.
amazing life. But right now
Oh,
is today, and today is one day at a time, enjoying it.
beautiful.
Thank
Beautiful ending. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Sandra, I cannot thank you enough for sharing such a sacred and vulnerable part of
Mhm,
your journey. Your experience of heaven, of God, and of the other side carries a level of peace and truth that I know is going to touch
mhm.
so many hearts. Your courage, your openness, and your message of healing are truly a gift. And I thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate it,
welcome.
truly. I love you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. And to all watching or listening, may this be a reminder that what we do here echoes far beyond this lifetime. The love we give, the ways we grow, and the lives we touch, they all matter because every moment becomes a part of the soul we carry into eternity. And until next time, stay open, stay curious, and keep returning to the truth within you.